Welcome back to Theology with Puppies. I'm Jonathan Hill, and I am joined with Marco. Marco just got a haircut, and then unfortunately, it got really cold here for some reason, so he's a little shivering, he's a little chilly. I have Marco with us today to discuss another kind of myth that I've seen promulgated on in the orthosphere, that there are multiple energies in God. So from the outset, let me just say that there is one divine energy, okay? There is a single divine energy because there is a single essence. There is a single dog energy in Marco because he has one essence, dog. Single energy in me because I have one essence, human. And so when you might say, oh, but we do a multiplicity of things. We can walk, we can think, we can sleep, we can move our arms, and I'm talking, you're looking, I'm looking. So isn't this multiple energies? Well, no. You're still actualizing the same single energy, which in terms of us is human, or in terms of Marco is canine, in terms of God, it's the divine energy, And so even if Marco were to bark, right, and then we were to bark to mimic him, we're not suddenly using canine energy, we're doing a canine action, or rather we're doing the human action of mimic. Yish, are you a little antsy? Yish. We're doing the human energy of mimicking. Rather, our human energy is being actualized in the form of mimicking. Okay? So a multiplicity of actualization does not mean that there is a multiplicity of that which is actualized. Okay? And so to highlight this, I have, again, a few quotes from the Fathers, because never, ever think something that is not confirmed by the Fathers. Initially, we start with them, and then we branch out. So I'll just read these off here for you. The treatise then seeks to celebrate these, the names of God, which set forth his providence, for it does not profess to express the very superessential goodness and essence and life and wisdom of the very superessential deity, which is seated above all goodness and deity and essence and wisdom and life in secret places, as the scriptures confirm. But it celebrates the beneficial providence, which has been set forth as preeminently goodness and cause of all good things, and as being and life and wisdom, the cause essentiating and vivifying and wise making of those who partake of essence, and life and mind and reason and sense. But it does not affirm that the good is one thing and the being another, and that life is another than wisdom, nor that the causes are many, and that some deities produce one thing and others another, as superior and inferior, but that the whole good progressions and names of God, celebrated by us, are of one God, and that the one epithet makes known the complete providence of the one God, but that the others are indicative of his more general and more particular providences. St Dionysios the Areopagite, Divine Names, Caput 5-2. So there's one energy because there is one God, the divine energy, right? There's one essence. So wisdom and love and beauty and life, these things are not different from each other. They are in fact identical. So how do we understand them? Because clearly we perceive wisdom differently than we perceive beauty, differently than we perceive life, differently than we perceive being, and so forth. Mercy is different than wrath, is different than jealousy, is different than anger. So how do we negotiate these two seemingly contradictory positions? Well, St. Gregory Palamas and St John of Damascus have the answer. St. Gregory Palamas. So then the divine and deifying illumination And grace is not the essence of God, but operation. And here is the word energeia is used. Therefore it, energeia again, does not proceed only singularly, but also multiply, analogously with those participating, upon whom they bestowed and according to the fitness of the recipients. And it's important to note that both times St. Gregory uses energeia, it is used in the singular. This is 150 chapters, and it's number 68. So we have the energeia is singular, but that it is multiple, analogously to those who are participating. What does that mean? It is very clear from St. Gregory Palamas' text that the energeia is single in itself and only multiplied according to its reception by the multitude of recipients. Okay, that's us. So we are the multiple. Again, the one and the many, the one and the multiplicity is God and creation. The energies are not multiple in God. They are single. They are single, right? This seems like a very weird thing to say. It's wholly one and single. We perceive, we who are the multitude, we who are the multiplicity, perceive this infinite, wholly one single energy of God in a multiplicity of ways because we are multiple and it is infinite. St. Dionysios the Areopagite likens it to if you take a wheel and in the middle you have an axis, and there are many spokes that come around that axis that form the wheel. Well, the further and further down you get of an individual spoke, because there are many spokes, so why aren't there many energies? But the further and closer you get to the cause and the source, the closer and closer the energies reveal themselves to be identical. Right? Does this make sense? If you still are doubting, let me read St John of Damascus from Exact Exposition of the Orthodox Faith. Further, the divine effulgence and energy, being one and simple and indivisible, assuming many varied forms in its goodness among what is divisible, and allotting to each the component parts of its own nature, still remains simple and is multiplied without division among the divided, and gathers and converts the divided into its own simplicity. For all things long after it and have their existence in it. It gives also to all things being according to their several natures. And it is itself the being of existing things, the living of living things, the reason of rational beings, the thought of thinking beings. But it is itself above mind and reason and life and essence. So working back through this, you see where, as we've talked on the ground, the unification of being, the hierarchy of being. And St John of Damascus points it out here. It is the existence of being. It is the life of living things. It is the reason of rational things, and it is the thought of thinking things, right? The thought of thinking beings. So this again shows that hierarchy of being, life, mind, and nous on top. And all of that is one. It's one being. And all of that is energized by the same energies. There's not difference here. The difference is in us, right? And St. John says that if we back up further in the quote. Being one and simple and indivisible, this is the energy, assuming many varied forms in its goodness among what is divisible. We are the divisible. We are the multiplicity. God is the unity. God is the one. We believe in one God. Right? It's from the Creed. We say this every day when we pray. We say the Creed every day. Assuming many varied forms in its goodness among what is divisible, and allotting to each the component parts of its own nature, still remains simple and is multiplied without division. So it's multiplied in the sense of we perceive it in a multiplicity of ways. There is wisdom, there is beauty, there is life, there is being. But the energy is not divided. The energy is not multiple. It is not divisible. okay, still remains simple and is multiplied without division among what is divided. So again, if we look back at Marco, right, he has one energy, even though he participates and acts in a multiplicity of actions, such as kissing me, he's so cute, and smelling, and licking me, and sitting and touching me, right? Those are all energized by his one energy. And the same thing with us. We have one human energy, and we actualize that one human energy in a multiplicity of ways, but there's still only one energy, okay? God has one energy. He is simple, and that energy is simple, and it is multiplied in the multiplicity, which is where we are. We are the multiplicity. He is the one, right? So I hope this helps explain a little confusion. I might name this the Mythbusters series. There seems to be a lot of mismatch on the orthosphere. So, did you like that video? Yeah, yes you did. You should, a good boy. Take care.